Welcome to Seahawks 253. Today we'll be going over the breakdown between the Los Angeles Rams versus the Seattle Seahawks Week 1 game, breaking down my initial thoughts about Week 1, about how the Seahawks did, some things that I feel like the Seahawks are going to have to get better at in order for us to have a productive season. So I know there's a lot to cover, so we'll get right into it. So first things first, let's talk about Week 1. Definitely really excited to see the season kick off. I know there's been a lot of hype over the preseason. We had to wait a long time to be able to see our players in uniform for the first time for real, and being able to kind of experience football after having such a long offseason is what it felt like to me. Some initial thoughts about Week 1 in general. Man, there were a lot of different blowouts that I definitely saw throughout the first week, kind of peeping how the Niners did against the Steelers, seeing how the Browns did against the Bengals, and then definitely seeing the Seattle Seahawks doing against the Rams. So kind of like my takeaway for the first week in general is that it definitely felt like a lot of the teams were kind of dusting off cobwebs and getting into the flow of things. I definitely saw that in some of the miscues of today's game. Definitely seeing how the week panned out. Definitely saw Anthony Richardson take a huge hit, concussion. Hope that he's going to do okay. But talking about the Seahawks specifically, man, this is one of those games that frustrates me. You know, we start out strong. You know, we get the field goal on the first drive. It looked like everything was kind of resuming back to where we were last season from the initial start in terms of getting some of the gear going on offense, seeing people make the catches. It looked like Geno in the first half was sharp, you know. So it definitely was kind of like a weird balance that I saw and that I felt like I noticed early on, where we're kind of making plays here and there. We're kind of not. We're kind of stopping the Rams. They get a conversion on first down, you know. So the biggest takeaway I have about the defense for us specifically is not that our run defense was bad, because our run defense, with the exception of the goal line go-ahead touchdowns, was really good for the most part throughout the game. It was the pass defense that I had the most concern about. Granted, we don't have Devin Witherspoon or Jamal Adams out there. Seeing Julian Love step up to the plate and see what he can do, it felt like the Rams was really cutting the Seahawks with 1,000 paper cuts is what it felt like. A lot of the drives felt like they were going on for minutes and minutes and minutes. It felt like in the second half entirely the Rams dominated, even though the point differential 17-13, 24-13, it didn't really feel like the Rams were too far ahead of the Seahawks, but just seeing how the Seahawks were able to respond, never felt like the Seahawks were able to get the offense going in the second half. It definitely felt like the Seahawks were bled dry in the second half, especially trying to respond back. Definitely really unfortunate to be able to have the injuries of Abraham Lucas and Charles Cross. You know, glad that Lockett's okay, but just overall, the Seahawks never really felt like they could get going in the second half, and I felt like the game kind of got away from them after a certain point. Yeah, on paper, 31-13, definitely not something to write home about, but I don't think we're that far off, and I feel like a lot of the things I saw, I think they're going to be fixable. You know, a lot of the kind of like the small things like, you know, Quandre and DK getting a penalty, those things have to stop, man. But as much as it was really hard to take this loss, I feel like this is going to make the Seahawks better early on, and that the Seahawks are going to be able to hunker down and kind of build upon these experiences, especially some of the rookies, you know, seeing Charbonnet out there, Jackson Smith-Njigba. You know, this team is so young. I think there was a total of 21 or 23 overall players that are in their first or second year for the Seahawks. So there's a lot of learning to do. There's a lot of people that are going to have to step up to the plate, and we got a contender in the Lions this upcoming week that knocked off the Kansas City Chiefs, obviously the Super Bowl champions of the last season. So there's a lot of the work that the Seahawks are going to have to put in between now and Sunday. But do I think we can get it done? Absolutely. It starts with the team being able to set itself right, being able to correct the mistakes and move forward. That's all for now, but if you like the commentary, go ahead and leave a like and a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. This is Seahawks 253, and I hope you have a blessed rest of your week. Take it easy.